Hi everybody, just want to stop in quick and give you some thoughts on the recently released Godzilla King of the Monsters trailer that came out from San Diego Comic-Con 2018. We're going to have to wait a little while before we actually see the entire film, but I want to stop in, give a few thoughts, a little bit of an analysis on what we're seeing here. Now we're not going to necessarily go through this like beat by beat, but I want to hit the big things here. We have the actress from Stranger Things who plays Eleven. She seems to be a main character in this film. Looks like we've lost most of the human cast that we had in the previous film, which, you know what? Thank goodness, because honestly, so boring. Oh my gosh. And not enough Godzilla, which they promised. There will definitely be way more Godzilla in this film, which I'm really excited about. Seems like we are in the aftermath of what happened in the kind of reboot that came out in 2014. After, 5 years it's going to be, and they're following real time here, that we are going to be picking up right where we left off with these guys. But looks like Ken Watanabe is back. We're looking at this kind of sunken civilization, as it were, seeing that some people used to worship Godzilla, probably as a god, which is very freaking cool. That's amazing. Like, who wouldn't want to be part of that group? So, kind of describing what the issue is here. The classic, like, oh, there's a virus and a fever to take it out. And then we get our first look at the big boy himself, Godzilla. Chloe Spike back. Beautiful. Love it. Love him so much. Just one of my favorite characters. Maybe fictional characters of all time. I really love Godzilla. Now we get a shot here of King Ghidorah, which is the main bad guy, I think, of this film. Kind of get a Megatron vibe here, like in the first Transformers, where he was frozen in ice under the Hoover Dam. We're kind of seeing a similar thing here. King Ghidorah must have been around. Potentially, maybe it was a comet or something, because usually King Ghidorah came from space. For those of you who aren't familiar with King Ghidorah, let me explain briefly. King Ghidorah is a three-headed space dragon that likes to shoot lightning beams out of its mouth, and we will definitely be seeing more of those later. Has two tails as well, so really cool to bring this creature in here. One of the classic OG kind of Godzilla enemies, and I'm really excited to see it back here. Plus, we haven't really seen it in action, just silhouette. So they're really doing a good job of like kind of keeping us in the dark, keeping it in the dark, which I really appreciate as well. We have four big monsters here, and we're kind of getting a shot here, and I'm not exactly sure if we're looking at Mothra, the formal Mothra, or one of its kind of little offspring, which Mothra seems to have. So that could be that. Typically in the past, Mothra has usually been a good guy for humanity. There's been times where Godzilla has been the villain and Mothra has been the hero. But we'll see a little bit more Mothra in a bit here. Getting some more of the size and scale of this film once again, which is incredible. Seeing Godzilla just rising out of the water, kind of more of a friend to humanity, it seems like this time. Kind of like in the last one too, which is great. Shooting off its atomic breath into the sky. This could be signaling for a fight. I don't think he's hoping for help or anything like that. I think he's just kind of, great. I'm not sure. Or Godzilla's just like, he's phoning home. Then we get the shot of, I believe this is Mothra, really, really, really massive wingspan there. And if you look really closely, you can actually see its head kind of in the middle of all of this. And Mothra, not the best combatant typically, has like these kind of spore attacks, if I remember correctly. Or that's how it used to be. And they say that it's going to be very faithful to the old school style of these characters from those old movies. So that's something I would expect to see coming up here. Now, this movie is going to have four monsters, and we've talked about three. We talked about Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and finally, Rodan. Yes, Rodan is this kind of pteranodon-like gigantic creature you see on the top of the volcano here. I'm not sure if they tried to blow up the volcano to release it or to harm it. One of the two. It looks like they are attacking it, though. So, I'm not sure if Rodan is also going to be a villain in this film as well. One thing I love here, you see a shot of Rodan's shadow kind of going over those neighborhoods, and then probably what would happen if something that large came swooping in, kind of ripping all of it apart. Unless there's an explosion behind it, too. That could be it. See some of the lightning coming out here. This means King Ghidorah breaking free, ripping things apart, which King Ghidorah is known to do, which is great. A lot of focus on the humans again. A little nervous about that, but we'll see about that. We'll see if it's something to be concerned about. Then we get this amazing shot of the Capitol. We've got kind of tornado storms. They're shooting at Rodan up in the sky there. This is just a beautiful shot. It looks like a wallpaper you could put on your computer. It's just gorgeous. I love this. This kind of this smoky dangerous environment which we had from the last film, which allowed them to hide the monsters sometimes and not always show them constantly, which I think is good. It adds a little bit to the mystique of it all. And we see some lightning in the back there. Could very well be from our King Ghidorah. I'm thinking that's probably it, especially that yellow lightning. If you watch in this trailer, there's a lot of shots where that yellow lightning kind of pops up for a second or something is lit by the yellow lightning. Yep, and then it looks like, you know, we got some more fighting, some more scrapping there. Rodan moving in, some planes getting batted out of the sky there. And then we get a silhouette of King Ghidorah with the lightning in the background. Now that is an impressive beast. 3 different heads, apparently 3 different actors for those heads for motion capture. Pretty crazy. I'd love to see how they did that. I really am excited to see the behind the scenes on this one. And then probably one of my favorite shots, they kind of, you know, long live the king. Rodan flying up, they kind of going through all of this. But really, it's all building up to just one thing. Godzilla with the freaking Air Force behind him. It looks amazing. It's like, oh, we're going. And I love this just big chunky boy Godzilla. Just really massive. Just, you can feel the weight in everything he does. Everywhere he goes, there's going to be just chaos. But he's coming to help us. He took out the Muto in the last film. So he's a friend. So basically, yeah, that's all for Godzilla King of the Monsters right now. Just a little bit of information. You know, they're kind of teasing it. It's still a ways off. We're probably going to get another big trailer. I hope we don't see too much of these guys moving forward. I know it sounds a little crazy. It's like, well, Jimmy, you're a big fan of Godzilla. Why wouldn't you want to see more of them? Why wouldn't you want to see more of these characters and these creatures? Well, that's why I'm going to pay to see the movie. Like, I'm already in. Like, it was Godzilla, and I'm already in. So I'm just really excited. Plus, as a fan of those old films, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen them, it's usually like a lot of dudes in like costumes, like a Godzilla costume on a soundstage, fighting on like little miniature cities, which was fine at the time, and I loved it as a kid. I'll never forget asking like my mom to sketch like some of the monsters off the VHS tapes that we had, like Space Godzilla and Mecha Godzilla, which I'm sure we'll get eventually. Maybe Gigan. I know these are kind of these are deep cuts. However, the director did mention that there's not only going to be 4 monsters in this movie, there's going to be more than that. So, what does that mean? Potentially, this could be, like I said, maybe Mothra's offspring could be considered one of those monsters. We kind of see a shot of one there. Maybe it's at like a larval stage or something like that. I'm not sure. Anguirus is an old like frenemy of Godzilla. It's kind of this ankylosaurus-looking thing. Definitely could be that, but I don't think they'd bring out anything. Ooh, if they brought out Mechagodzilla now, that would be insanity. I don't think they would use Mechagodzilla, and for people who don't know what that is, it's this basically Godzilla if it were a robot, created by humans. I think he would take, or it would take place as like maybe a main villain. I don't think we're going to see Mechagodzilla in this one, but that would be incredible if that happened. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, I would be really surprised to see that. But yeah, for people who didn't know that about me, that I just love old Godzilla films, yeah, that's just, I grew up with those. And one that I remember specifically, and one they're kind of building towards, is King Kong versus Godzilla. Now, back in the day, King Kong won that fight, so I'm hoping that Godzilla for round 2 is going to take it here. They're going to have a definitive winner eventually, and the director in this film said there's going to be a few kind of like crumbs, you know, breadcrumbs, if you will, or cookie crumbs, or Easter egg crumbs? I don't know. But kind of alluding to King Kong's existence, and I don't know, we might get a tease of him at the end of this film, like we got a tease of Godzilla at the end of Kong Skull Island, which, if you didn't know, that is also part of this movie universe. So this will be the 3rd film in that universe, and then the 4th one will be Godzilla versus King Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla, whatever. And I am looking forward to it. I just can't wait. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. This is one of those movies I'd love to see in IMAX again. Not necessarily with the glasses. I think that's kind of mandatory nowadays. But something about the size and scale of this creature, but more so the sound. I'll never forget sitting in the theater with my buddy Joe from the podcast, if you guys have watched, sitting there listening to, before the movie even started, they did one of the Godzilla cries, the roars, and it just shook the whole place, and it was incredible. Sounds so good, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So keep your eyes peeled. Godzilla King of the Monsters, more information coming down the pipeline, you know, in the months to come, but this is just a nice little, it's gonna hold us off, guys, if you're thirsty for it like I am. thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I hope I gave you a little more insight to this thing that we call Godzilla. And I hope you guys come back for another one of these. If this is your first time here, my name is Jimmy Good. I'm from Critical Reviews. You want to help out the channel? You can like this video. You can subscribe if you haven't already. Or you can hit that bell icon if you are a subscriber to get notified immediately when new videos go up. And if you really want to support us, either share us with a friend or go check us out on patreon.com/criticalreviews. Throwing us $1 really does help, guys. I really, really appreciate that. But just spreading us around, seriously. Like, you could tweet us out, share us with some friends. That helps oodles. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of Godzilla in the comments below. Who's your favorite monster? Who are you looking forward to? And if you want to see more videos like this, just let me know. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day. And just remember to adapt and overcome.